Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brookelynne. I am currently teaching first grade in Middle Tennessee. And welcome back to my channel. Today is not going to be a vlog. I'm on Thanksgiving break this week, so all this week we're not going to have vlogs. I'm so sorry. But I thought since I have all this time on my hands with Thanksgiving break, why don't I go ahead and do some sit-down videos? So I've already posted 2 sit-down videos this week. This is my 3rd one. Then there will be another one on Thursday, and then hopefully next Monday we'll get back into the groove of our regular scheduled vlogs. But for today, I've had a lot of people ask me what my thoughts are as a teacher who taught first, then went to substitute teaching, and is now back to teaching full-time in a classroom. So I thought I would kind of do like the teaching versus subbing and then the pros and cons of each, so that if you're wondering if you just want to sub, if you want to go into actual teaching, if you want to just sub to like test the waters, that kind of thing, you can have sort of a basis for what to expect in each. So let's get into it. So I'll start off with the substitute teaching pros and cons. Essentially, subbing is pretty easy. Honestly, you just get to show up. You don't have to do any lesson plans. You don't have to be there for staff meetings, that kind of thing. Also, it's pretty easy to be able to do it. I know for my district specifically, I did not have to have any kind of degree. I did not have to have a teaching license. All I did was apply for it and do a background check and fingerprints. That's all I had to do in my district to become a substitute teacher. Now I know some other districts, like the district south of me, I think, you have to have at least an associate's degree to be a substitute teacher there. But it just depends on your district. So most districts, you don't have to have anything like that. So anyway, it's pretty much easier to become a substitute than it is to become an actual teacher. Also, you get to just show up, don't have to do any lesson plans, anything like that. My second main pro about subbing that I loved when I was a substitute teacher is if it's a rough class or grade or school and the kids are just out of control and you don't have the support from the admin you want, you just take them off of your sub list. You literally, how we did it was through Will Sub, and you literally just deselected any school or grade that you didn't want to have. And so I would do that, and I only worked at the specific schools that I knew I was going to be able to handle. So that was really nice. Another pro is no professional development, no staff meetings. You don't have to worry about all that extra stuff. You literally just show up at contract time and are there till the end of the contract time. My last pro for subbing was that you didn't have observations. So I didn't have to worry about, oh, is someone gonna randomly pop in my room today and decide if I get to keep my job or not? They were just happy to have you and would help however they could, and then they went on their way. It wasn't like with teaching where you have someone sit in your room for an hour and critique how you're teaching and what you're teaching and how your kids are responding to your instruction and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there were any more pros. Dress code was a little more relaxed when I was just a substitute. If I walked in wearing a denim skirt, it wasn't that big a deal on a Monday. Whereas teaching, there's I can only wear denim on Fridays and stuff like that. Also, most schools were a lot more helpful for subs. Some were not as helpful, and those were the ones I took off my sub list. But most of the time, if I walked in as a sub, they're like, oh, hi, how can I help you? Yep, your room's right here. If you need anything, this is my name. This is my room right here. Come get me anytime you need. And I would just send a kid over, and I would have 5 teachers in my room in a split second, which was really nice as a substitute to have that kind of support. But yeah, those are the subbing pros. Now let's do the teaching pros. First pro is you get your own classroom. It is your space for you to create a classroom community with your students. You don't feel like you're invading someone else's privacy like you sometimes do when you're subbing. When you're teaching, it's your classroom, which is, I think, the big thing. You get to decorate it. You get to implement all the strategies and behavior management plans that you want to implement in your class, not that someone else has already implemented in a class you're just watching. So that's the first big one, is it's your classroom. 2 is, the second pro is you will know that you have work. Sometimes with subbing, especially around the easier parts of the year when it's not as stressful for teachers, there would be times when I didn't know if I was gonna have work that week. It would be Sunday night and I wouldn't have any jobs lined up for the week, and I'd be like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna not have money this week. Whereas teaching, I always know, hey, unless I'm sick and unless there's snow on the ground, I'm going into work today. And even if there was snow on the ground, I'm still getting paid for today. So that was the security that you had, and that you would have a job the next day. unless you did something like insane, was pretty nice to have. So my third pro is that you get to have actual like relationships and foster respect and trust with the students. When you're subbing, you might see them like on like the 3rd of August and you won't see them again until the 5th of May. Like, there's no consistency with the kids, and you don't really get to know them, and they don't really get to know you, so they don't have that trust and respect for each other, honestly. But whenever it's in your own classroom, you do have that opportunity that you really need to have, which is like where you can grow those relationships with your students and get to know them, get to know their little personality quirks, get to know how they learn. And you can honestly see growth better in students whenever you have a relationship with them like that. So yeah, that's the third pro, is that you get to actually like have those relationships with your students and foster that respect and trust. My fourth pro is that you get to make your lesson plans and have fun planned events and crafts and all that, as long as it involves curriculum. Like, say if I wanted to do a room transformation tomorrow, I could do that. As long as it aligned with my curriculum, I could do a room transformation. If it was like around Christmas time and I wanted to read a specific book, I could pull that book out and read it during some of my free time if we had any that day. Or I could, you know, if my class is struggling with a concept, I could say, well, we need to take a step back and step back a day, things like that. Getting to make your own lesson plans, plan out your day, and have fun planning crafts and events and that kind of thing is really something that I missed when I was subbing that made me want to come back to teaching. So yeah, that's a pro for teaching. And the last pro for teaching that I think is honestly the pro that everyone sees and knows, it's everyone's why. Whenever like teachers are asked, oh, remember your why, this is the why that they're talking about. It's the getting to see the growth in your students. Like, I know I have some students this year start off the year super low and already they're meeting milestones that they shouldn't be meeting until the end of this year. And like, just seeing that rapid growth in some students is really rewarding, and it's honestly why I was wanting to teach. When you're substitute teaching, you don't really get to see that. You know, it's really just, here you go. Like, don't let the kids die today. Like, keep the kids alive for today. That's like your one goal when you're substituting, is to keep them alive and try to do something somewhat educational when you're subbing. Whereas when you're teaching, you can actually see that growth and like interact with the students and all that. So that's the fifth pro, is just getting to see that growth in your students. Now, when it comes to like putting these two up against each other, honestly, I think I preferred subbing. I have a video on my TikTok, and it's like why I prefer subbing over teaching, and it all honestly just boils down to the support that you get when you're subbing, and how when you're subbing, if a kid's bad, usually they'll just be taken out of your class and you won't ever have them again because you'll never sub for that class again. They'll get taken out, put in another classroom, and then I took that class off my list and never sub for them again. Whereas teaching, I have had some special friends in the past. I have some special friends now that I call to get them taken out of the class. They're out for 5 minutes. They're right back in my classroom because they need to learn. It's their education. But in those 5 minutes, where they are gone is the most productive part of the day. And the least stressful for me and for the whole class in general. And you like feel that like that sigh of relief when they're out of the classroom and that distraction is taken away. So as a teacher, it's really stressful trying to create that classroom environment where you can still work even though we have those distractions going on. And it's something that I never had to deal with when I was substitute teaching. So just because of that main stressor, I prefer substitute teaching to regular teaching. However, and I'm going to be transparent with y'all because I'm going to talk about pay for a minute, okay? So, as a substitute teacher, I would get to school around 7:15, and I would leave at contract hours, which was 2:45 or 3, depending on my school. As a teacher, I still could get here at 7:15 and leave at 2:45. However, I wouldn't get anything done. So I like to be at school at the latest by like 6:45 or 6:50. I prefer to be there at 6. And then I usually am not able to leave and like get packed up until about 3:15, 3:30. But if I have a meeting for school, if I have morning duty, I'll have to be there even earlier. If I have a staff meeting or professional development after school, I'll have to be there later. I'm helping out with the play, which was totally my call. I decided to do that. So like, this isn't really something I can complain about, but I think it's just like, you know, worth saying. I help out with our school musical twice a week, and I'm actually one of the people who does not get paid for that. So I don't have to stay every single time we have rehearsal, but I mean, I'm involved in it, so I want to be able to stay. So at least once a week, I'm staying till 5 or 5:30 for musical rehearsal. Some weeks I'm staying twice a week. Other weeks I don't stay at all because they don't need me, because I'm just teaching the musical numbers. And if we're not going over a musical number, they'll just be like, hey, don't come today, you take a break. But so those are the hour differences. But pay-wise, as a substitute teacher in my district, you make $55 a day. $55. Because I'm certified, because I was a certified teacher at one point, and I currently am too. But when I was subbing, I technically wasn't certified anymore, but I had been in the past, so I made $10 extra a day. So I made $65 a day. And then specific schools that were harder to get substitutes got an extra $5 to $10 a day. So the most I ever made in one day as a substitute teacher was $75. What I make teaching is around $200 a day. I had like $200 a day for a 200-day contract. So as a substitute, I got paid less than half what I get paid as a teacher. Now I understand it's because I don't have to do those lesson plans. I don't have to stay for that professional development. I don't have to stay for drama practice after school. But I think that's one of the main reasons that we don't have substitutes, is because they literally get paid nothing. I made more door dashing than I did substitute teaching. Although I did also make more door dashing than I do as an actual teacher. So take it how you want. Pay is a big issue on both sides. Over here, you get paid a lot less, but you have to do a lot less. Over here, you get paid a good amount more, but you have a lot more responsibility too. So you really just gotta figure out what things you're willing to compromise on and what things you're not willing to compromise on. If money is something you're willing to compromise on and you don't want a really high stress job, you just need something to pay a few bills and you want to make yourself useful, or like you want to see what teaching is about but you don't need money at this exact moment, 100% sub first so you can figure out which schools you like and which grades you like. If that's not an option for you, money is like, I have to have these bills paid and I need it now, teach. So honestly, it's sad that it comes down to that decision. For me personally, about subbing versus teaching, it's, do I want to sub, get paid less, but not have to handle behaviors, or teach, have to handle all those horrible behaviors and the planning and everything, but get paid a little bit more and be able to survive. So those are honestly my pros and cons of teaching versus subbing. Let me know if you have any pros and cons, or if it's different in your district. Maybe in your district the pay scale is different, or the experience of subbing is different, and you have something that you would like to share. Let me know down below, okay? I'm open to hearing all of it. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you're not already, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned to all the content that will be coming soon, and I will catch y'all in the next one.